A Central Billings home is destroyed in an overnight fire when flames rip through the home, leaving very little behind. Take a look at this video sent to us by a viewer. The fire at 815 Miles Avenue was reported just after 1 o'clock this morning. In the video, you can hear the man with the camera telling others he was banging on the windows and doors, trying to warn anyone who might be inside. Now, we just received word that the home was occupied, but there were no injuries and no fatalities. The Deputy Fire Marshal Trevor Schilling is estimating the property and content loss at $200,000 this morning. Their plan for right now is to monitor the scene, but it looks like they're going to carry on with their investigation a little bit later into the morning once daylight hits. For now, they will monitor the scene and take a deeper look into this. We will update you on air and online at ktvq.com as soon as we do receive some updated information. Also making headlines this morning, authorities in Australia are trying to figure out what motivated the driver of a car to crash into pedestrians in one of the busiest areas of Melbourne. At least 14 people were hurt, some of them critically. The driver of the car and another person are in police custody. Authorities believe it was a deliberate act. One of those injured is reportedly a young child who suffered head injuries. Big news this morning here in the U.S. Just weeks before wrapping up his first full year in office, President Donald Trump has his first major win. The Republican plan for tax reform has passed both houses of Congress. The vote was split almost entirely down party lines. CBS's Hinadoba has more.
First, an animated tweet from President Trump delivering what he calls a Christmas gift to the American people. Then it was on to the White House to celebrate Congress's passage of the Republican tax reform bill, the first major legislative victory of the Trump administration.
It's always a lot of fun when you win. If you work hard and lose, that's not acceptable.
Even some of the president's critics within the Republican Party, like Senator Bob Corker, who voted against the bill the first time around, stood behind him on this day. Mr. Trump received nothing but praise from the GOP.
You're one heck of a leader, and we're all benefiting from it. This bill could not have passed without you.
Among the main features of the bill, it reduces the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%, doubles the current standard deduction for individuals and families, and doubles the child tax credit. Taxpayers will see the effects in February paychecks. Democrats maintain the bill overwhelmingly benefits the rich.
The suspicions of the American people that the Republican Party is helping the wealthy and the powerful corporations and not the middle class has been confirmed in this bill.
While the president could sign the bill at any point now, the White House says he may wait until the start of the new year in order to delay automatic cuts to Medicare and other popular programs. Hinadoba, CBS News.
The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office predicts the legislation will add $1.4 trillion to the national debt over the next decade. Montana's two senators are speaking out about their party line votes. Montana's junior senator Steve Daines says the future of the state's economy will improve thanks to the bill. He says, quote, getting the tax cuts and Jobs Act across the finish line means families will see bigger paychecks, Main Street businesses will be able to hire more workers, and America will compete and win on the world stage. Democratic Senator Jon Tester has opposed the bill since its inception and expressed his frustration last night on Facebook. Quote, the folks who voted yes on this bill did so at the expense of our kids and grandkids. They're the ones who will be paying this tab long after we are gone. In Montana, the effect could be both positive and negative, but it will affect all of us.
Most people will benefit from the legislation. Some will benefit a small amount, others will benefit more, but it will impact lower income through maybe a refundable child tax credit. Montana farms and ranches and businesses through tax bracket and tax rate changes, as well as business equipment expensing provisions. And there's also provisions in there having to do with high income taxpayers and the estate tax.
Some of the key provisions of the bill will allow businesses to take a 100% write-off on equipment and machines for the first year. Cattle and agricultural equipment fall under that provision as well, which could be a help to farmers and ranchers. But because of Montana's tax structure, a decrease in deductions at the federal level could trickle down into Montana, reducing state income taxes and negatively impacting the state budget. Yates believes when lawmakers reconvene in 2019, tax reform or a significant tax adjustment will be necessary for the state. Yates says if it is possible to assess your taxes and make changes in the next 11 days before the deadline, it would be good to do so. Meanwhile, winter weather is wreaking havoc on our roads, and it's giving some kids a day off from school. The 3 schools in Pryor are all calling it a snow day. Classes are canceled for Pliniku High School, Arrow Creek Elementary, and St. Charles Mission. Meanwhile, classes will resume as normal for all of Billings School District 2, but if your child rides the bus, expect a delay. Superintendent Terry Bauk issued a warning last night saying buses will likely run slightly behind schedule. As the bus drivers take extra precautions to keep students safe, Bauk is asking parents to wait at the bus stop with your child and make sure they're dressed warm. Continuing our coverage, the bishop has responded to this week's new filing in the diocese bankruptcy case. Attorneys for the 86 victims who were sexually abused by Eastern Montana priests dating back to the 1950s contend as much as $70 million of church assets should be included as part of the bankruptcy estate. Those assets include 14 parishes within the diocese, 4 of them right here in Billings. While the plaintiffs contend those assets should be available for the settlement, the diocese maintains the parishes are held in trust by the diocese and those therefore are exempt. Attorneys Jim Stang, who represents the 86 victims, says his goal is to reach a settlement with the diocese. Stang tells MTM News that under Montana law, the parishes do not exist on their own and those assets should be available to creditors. But that issue will ultimately be decided by the federal bankruptcy court. Bishop Warfel says the diocese will challenge these latest claims.
What I want people to know is that we truly want to address the hurt of people who were victimized long ago. And it goes back quite a few years for most cases, but still the hurt's there. And I want to address that in a fair and equitable manner. At the same time, we also want to continue serving the people in the present and the future.
The bishop says only 22 of the 86 victims' claims are covered by insurance, and he points out all the legal action in the case eats away at more assets, leaving less available for the victims. An official response from the church is due in court by January 18th. And now we go to Lockwood, where a store owner made a business decision that's also helping pedestrians. 3G's convenience store's owner, Larry Grosslock, built a sidewalk along Highway 87 East on state-owned land next to his property. He says the land was overgrown with weeds and the state gave him permission to build and maintain the sidewalk. The Lockwood Pedestrian Safety District is now honoring his action with a special plaque. The new 3G's sidewalk, in addition to other sidewalks put in by the district near Lockwood schools, made it safer for students.
We just finished the second phase of our sidewalk this last year on Highway 87. Connects all the way from here to the school, so the school kids have somewhere to walk on. We also have data that shows that just since May of this year, there's over 6,000 users on that sidewalk.
Kids are natural customers of ours, and so this gives them a chance to be able to come straight down here in a very safe manner, because the sidewalks now, they're not walking in the streets, because in the past we've all seen lots of people walk the streets because there's nowhere else to walk out here. And there is a lot of traffic out here. It's surprising how this corner has grown over the years.
Early this year, Lockwood Ace Hardware also built a sidewalk in front of its business and also received special recognition. Getting now into the holiday spirit, Santa Claus stopped by to see some of the smallest patients at St. Vincent Healthcare. St. Nick has paid a visit there for over 2 decades to deliver teddy bears to the babies who will spend Christmas in the NICU. The visit is sponsored by Montana March of Dimes. Professional photography done by Itty Bitty Portraits allows the babies to still get a picture with Santa.
I've been doing this 24, for sure, 25 years, I think. And seeing the babies here, when they bring them back to see me in 2 or 3 years or 4 or 5 years, it's amazing. You know, I know nothing lasts forever, and I'll quit doing this at some time. This will be the last thing I quit. This will be the last thing. I love doing this. I like seeing these guys.
Oh, I'm sure Santa makes the first Christmas for those babies much sweeter. Thank you.